the people that we know who trust us. This is
right man to stand for the office of the presidency. The late legal sage Gani Fawehinmi stood for elections and he didn't win. So it goes beyond the persona of the candidate, definitely. And in Nigeria, it's a different ballgame. And Africa in general, money is very relevant when it comes to politics. And these parties, the traditional parties, the APC and PDP, have a huge war chest. How do you think you can go against that?
I love two things you've said so far. Number one is this is not just about one guy. This is not just about Fela. It wasn't just about Gani. This has to be a generational movement. That is the most important task that we have. It's not just about selling a Fela to anyone. It's about getting a generation to accept responsibility and choosing their president based, or their president, not just their president, but the members of the Senate, the governors, and the state houses of assembly. That you need that entire block, that generational shift to make this thing work. And the point is, if you look at that, you know, the people are ready to be able to make things happen. Like I told you, 70 million people who refuse to collect money from the people who all they do is dole out money during elections. There were 70 million people who said, we don't want your money. That's what they said. It wasn't that there was no money to be able to induce them to vote, but they said, we're not interested in your money. That's one. Number two, they are now willing to put their 1,000, 2,000 and put it into a movement that they believe in, to support candidates that they believe in.
Yeah, Fela, you are an upright man, and nobody will doubt that you have any stain on your records, and you will definitely not be the first upright man and corrupt-free candidate to stand for elections in this country. We've had the legal sage Gani Fawehinmi stand for elections, but we all know how that went. Money is very relevant when it comes to politics in Nigeria, and your political party, and I don't have details of your bank account, but it doesn't seem that you have that financial war chest that these other parties command. How do you plan to make money irrelevant?
Well, I think that today, if you...
Or money not a factor when it comes to electing the right leaders?
I think that the existing system has already done that for us. In other words, if you go out there today and talk to most people in the grassroots, they will tell you we're tired. We're tired of them coming and giving us 2,000 naira, and then for the next 3 years or 4 years, as in some cases, you know, they're going to be hungry. Our children can't find work. There's no power. Our markets are not selling, as they always say, ojauta. In some places, they will say, look, we're not doing any business. There's no production. There is no productivity. And then they come in and keep us poor, and then give us another 2,000 naira to be able to get us just to be able to buy, you know, a small sachet of rice. People are smarter than the last election, because, you know, that's one of the good benefits of consistency in democracy, is that now people are seeing and telling themselves, this is not working for me. Okay, so the first thing I would say is that money has been discredited by those who use money as a tool to win elections. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I'm saying is, you know, this is clear. It's not about one man. It's not just about getting Fela Duroto elected. This is about a generation choosing that this is the time for us to move forward and not backwards. We can't stay where we are. We can't afford to continue like this. And so many of them are willing to say, look, you know what? I'm willing to put my 2,000 naira, my 3,000 naira, my 4,000 naira.
So you're open to crowdfunding?
Oh, it is crowdfunding that is going to get this job done. But remember that there were 70 million people who refused to be financially induced. And those are the people that we're first of all going after, right? Those people who, even when there was money, they were not moved by money. That is, so they're not just people who they don't want to sell their vote, but more importantly, they want to be able to cast their vote and put their own money behind the kind of people that they want to see in power.
How much of a problem is the leadership problem in this country? And would you say fixing leadership is the magic solution to all our problems? Oh, yeah, if we get leadership right, how much of change, positive change, can it inspire?
I think, like you know, you hear people like John Maxwell and several other people say, everything rises and falls on leadership. But I think more importantly, people need to understand that leadership is not just the group of people who have power. That leadership is everything. Leadership is the ability to inspire and influence people to solve problems and make things, places, and people better. And that whenever a leader shows up, a leader is able to solve problems, and then and things get better when the leaders show up. And so the first most important thing that I'm trying to help a whole generation realize is that Nigeria does not just need one good leader. Nigeria needs 190 million leaders, and we must have the capacity to be able to find great leaders who will inspire others and the leadership in them to essentially be unveiled. All right. Having said that, we know that for the last 50-something years, we've been ruled, not led. Leaders usually are people who solve problems and make things better. Rulers, on the other hand, are usually people who suppress and depress others so that they can retain power. And what they typically do is to make things bitter for people. So whilst you see that when leaders come, they try to improve the people, but when rulers come, they impoverish the people. When you look at it, when rulers come, they emancipate the people. When leaders come, they emancipate the people. When rulers come, they emasculate the people. So my point is this: Nigeria has not really been led for the last, half a century. To a large extent, we have been ruled. We've had military rule, we've had
colonial rule,
and more importantly, even in democracy, we've literally had, the same military rulers, mostly either be in charge or determine who's in charge. And so it's really still about rulership. A few years ago, they talked about the ruling party,
yes.
The
ruling class.
So Nigeria has been ruled, and I think that it's time for Nigeria to be led.
President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday said that his administration will continue to place the nation's security and national interest above the rule of law. President Buhari made the declaration while flagging off the 2018 Annual General